and welcome to this new video. I hope you guys are doing well. So let's start with 3 horror stories. It's been a long time. Today's 3 stories are with different mechanics as usual, and there's one of them in particular, the last one. The last one because that way you will watch the video until the end. And it's horrible. Like, I'm thinking this might have happened to me and I didn't realize it would be horrible. But, well, let's start with the first story, which is Martin's story. For context, Martin lives alone in a first-floor apartment in a neighborhood that he says is not great, not very well frequented. Belonging to the first floor, the window of his room led to an alley, and a few meters from the alley there were garbage cans, and often there were homeless people who would come to rummage through the garbage to see what they can find. So, this is not a story that lasted for several weeks or anything, it's just a one-shot. And this is what scares me, that it can really happen to someone who lives on the first floor. Not me though, I'm okay. One morning, a little before dawn, so it's still dark, Martin wakes up and he hears knocking at the window. Very scary situation. Martin specifies that when he hears the knocks, he was laying in his bed with his back to it, not facing the window, which is a very important detail. You know why in a second. This is because Martin's blinds were worn out. Some of them were missing, some of them not even theirs. It's just like if he didn't even have blinds on. So everyone could see in. So this is why this detail is important, because Martin says that if someone really knocked on his window, that means they can see Martin. So Martin acts accordingly. He's too smart. He's already way too smart. That's too much. He explains that the sound was brief, like 5 or 6 knocks at his window. After spending several seconds paralyzed in his bed and wondering what the hell it was, and from there, Martin understands that there is someone probably who was watching him sleep through his window and who decided, we don't know why, suddenly to knock. Clearly, if it was a friend of Martin's or someone from his family or whatever, you don't knock on the window. It's no good, you just knock on the front door like everyone else. He gets up and goes to his bathroom, which is outside his room, which is totally believable. Most people wake up 1 or more times at night to go to the bathroom. And so, he's going to play this thing on. From there, he's out of sight of the guy in the window. And because he's out of the room, he runs to his phone to call 911. And he runs to his front door to make sure that it's locked, so that the guy who knocked on the window can't get into the apartment. From that point on, Martin understands that he has 2 options. Either he stays locked in his apartment and the person can't get in, or he runs away. So he gets out of his apartment and makes the sprint of his life, except that he's not sure he can run faster than his assailant. And he doesn't have time to make a decision, that then, with a big bang, he hears the window of the room open. The guy managed to open it. It's terrible. But, as luck would have it, he hears his upstairs neighbor, Mike, coming down the stairs. Martin unlocks his front door, opens it a few inches, and asks Mike to come and help him because there's something weird going on. He points out that Mike is a good guy. The guy is very tall, very large. He had heard that he had also done martial arts, so he's pretty confident that Mike will come and help him. Mike goes downstairs, rushes to the back of the apartment at the level of the window of his room, which leads onto the alley, thus where there is the possible intruder. And after a few seconds, he hears a guy get slammed against a wall and thrown into some bushes. Good news, it's not Mike. It's the intruder. There was indeed a guy who opened the window and was going to enter Martin's room, except that Mike intervened. He prevented him from entering the apartment, and several seconds later, all this mess, there is Mike who comes back, who tells him, "Don't worry, man, you're not going to see him again anytime soon." The bad news is, the guy managed to escape, and it wasn't a homeless person coming into the alley to check if there was any stuff in the garbage or anything at Martin's place. Which is funny. It means that the guy wasn't there for survival, he was there for another purpose. We don't know what it was. Mike says that he saw him run away from the scene and get into a red sports car and drive away in the car. In the afternoon, Martin went to the police and told them what had happened. And they told him that it was just some guy who had spotted him somewhere and followed him home in order to... well, we don't know. At the moment, Martin has moved out, and he doesn't live in the same place anymore after this story, and he still doesn't know who that person was, and what he was going to do. You can imagine all you want, but I still think that when a guy watches you sleep without you knowing and then knocks, and then opens the window and breaks into your house, he's not very well intentioned. So I guess we should say thank you to Mike, and we all hope that we have a Mike living above us. Thank you for listening to this story.